I guess from a fighter's point of view, I was surprised to see the way it came out. But as you mentioned, with Froch's now notoriety in media, whether it be his podcast or on YouTube as well, he's certainly trying to drive more people towards that, and that has become really the sort of, yeah, just the way he's going with things. So there was no surprise that's the way he decided to take the conversation. Whether AJ knew or not that was the way that Froch would go is, we do not know that. But no surprise that he's put that online. Given what we've seen over the last couple of years from Carl Froch and since he retired, and the obvious relationship with AJ, which does seem to be slightly frayed to say the least. So a little bit disappointing, I think, that a former fighter has done that. I spoke to Joe Laws earlier, who's obviously been in plenty of spats himself, and I think he was
spat expert, isn't he? Yeah,
he certainly is. But as a fighter, why would you do that? I mean, being in the media, you can see why Froch would do it. But if he was still fighting, and if someone from the media was to put out private messages, I'm sure he'd be pissed off, wouldn't he? So, look, I mean, he's going to do what he's going to do to get some traction for his podcast and his media, but not the way I would have gone about it.
As anyone that knows me or has known me for long enough will attest to, I hate the idea of anyone putting out private messages on a social media platform. Absolutely hate it. Ruins lives, you might say. And there's people out there just do it with no compunction. You know, don't know what you want to say about people like that. But if karma's a thing, you know, perhaps they'll lose a fight or something, or get cut in their follow-up. Who knows? I'm just gassing on here. Gary says, this will be interesting. I'll just be observing here, Danny. Thanks for letting me know, Gary. Sounds a bit creepy, actually. Gary also says, after saying he's just observing, 3 chats later, Gary's back. Is this Josh Hart, who Johnny Nelson told him that Dubois was disabled? God, I must have missed that one. Nelson gets a free pass in everything he says. It's not Josh Hart, it's Josh Green, lean Josh Green. Josh Hart is currently working on some content around the Johnny Fisher Fight Week, which he'll be attending. But yeah, I'll have a word with him about keeping old Johnny Nelson in check. Not good enough. What? No, I'm joking. I'm sure it's fine, but yeah, I'll have to watch that one back. For Arslan, would have thought after earning hundreds of millions, AJ would have matured enough not to flex a couple of £100 and rolls. Augustus Berg says AJ's by far the greatest heavyweight. Only haters would say otherwise. Greatest heavyweight what? Ever around today? I mean, he's lost twice to Usyk, who's still at heavyweight. So it's kind of hard to justify that. Little Crypty Monster says AJ's my hero. That's obviously fine. No problem with that. AJ McKen, AJ's private text messages aren't private at all. Yeah, wasn't it? Didn't we see that thing about Eddie Chambers years ago? What was it? Real Ones Move in Silence, where he's basically slagging off Eddie Chambers. But he's never confirmed nor denied whether it was him or whether it was someone pretending to be AJ that sent it. But it was so random. Like, Eddie Chambers wasn't even in line to fight AJ. I think he'd just been critical of him. And Joshua decided to have a pop at him, allegedly, which I love. I use Real Ones Move in Silence all the time now as well. So I can thank you for that, Ant, my mate. IQ Boxing Academy says, good work, guys. See, IQ, is that our friend in Wembley, or is that a different IQ? I have to find out. Xavier Miller. Zav, is that you? Let us know. 8. Oh, no, I'm not doing this again. Beautiful Golden Dragon, as you will now be known. Is that Grey Dad Guy's son? Probably around the right age to be my son if I'd started young. And I am from Tower Hamlets, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility. But no, there is no paternity dispute around Josh Green, as far as I'm aware, and I'm certainly not involved in it. Did anyone notice the date on the text? August 2023, says Paul Daniels. Paul Daniels, it's magic. Where's the lovely Debbie McGee? If you didn't get the earlier old-time references, you'll never get this one. IQ Boxing Academy. Yes, it is Zav Miller. Zav, welcome. Zav's obviously a great trainer and also someone who we've had the pleasure of hosting on our watch-along as well. So, yeah, thanks for joining us. We've already established I'm not Josh Green's dad. It's not August 2023 either. Not sure what that's about, from Paul Daniels, famous magician from the 80s, for people who didn't get the reference. But yeah, going back to AJ against Froch, We know Froch's motivation, Josh. Obviously, as you said, he wants to get more views, or I said wants to get more views for his podcast, and he's a figure in the media now. There's also the long-standing issue between them after AJ left the Rob McCracken stable. As far as we know, Froch remains close to his former trainer. But what's Joshua's motivation for engaging with it? Why can't he treat Froch just as another, noise maker in the media industry and ignore them, be above it? Why does he want to engage with it?
It's a difficult one to know. I don't know where the loyalties lie in terms of McCracken. I'm not sure what AJ's relationship was like with McCracken once he left. Obviously, the performances were going downhill. They weren't where they once were. But whether they left on a sour personal note remains to be seen. Maybe we'll find that out a little bit later in AJ's career. I can't imagine McCracken's going to be one that's going to let that slip. Obviously, pretty elusive when it comes to interviews is Mr. McCracken.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it all seemed very personal to me, just looking at the messages that came through from both. Obviously, it is from Froch's side, and yeah, whether if you want to treat him as an outsider, somebody who's making criticism, you can do it that way. But at the end of the day, there is a pre-existing relationship between AJ and Froch, and I'm sure that played into it. I'm not sure when they last met in person, whether there was anything said, what sort of terms they're on. But you've got to think if they're not on good terms in person, then it would probably translate to the messages.
All right, well, we're going to go back to the chat in a minute, but I want to get our poll out nice and early. So we're asking basically right now, so if AJ's career ended tomorrow, for example, I mean, it's not going to, but if it did, who has got the better all-time record? Who's higher in your all-time boxer list? Is it Joshua? Is it Froch? Let us know. Joshua, obviously two-time world heavyweight champion, bidding to make it 3 against Daniel Dubois on the 21st of September. Froch, many times super middleweight world champion, and been in with some of the top fighters of his era as well. That famous win, revenge with George Rose at Wembley as well. And yeah, who's higher in the all-time list right now? Froch to the chat. DB Cooper 1. Froch is just mad that Rob McCracken with his 10% made more from AJ in a few years than Froch did in his whole career. Holdar says Froch is trying to keep his name alive. Little Crypty Monster says Froch threatened to release more AJ messages. Not a cool move. Chris Watkins, Froch moans about everything. I don't know about it. Does he moan about everything? Farah Arslan says, should Dubois come out southpaw first round? That's a kind of attempted dig there at our friend Xavier Miller after Dillian White gets Tyson Fury, but I would maintain that was easily White's best round of that fight. Tactics TV says Cole Froch is from the past and is the past. All glory to the Lord, God the Son, Jesus Christ. I'm afraid as much as, I'm a God-fearing man, that name's going to get shortened if you send any more chats. 1-2 for the AJ crew. Can't wait for AJ to dominate Daniel Dubois. We don't call him AJ anymore, just so you know. Don't matter what AJ does, he's always got snakes poking knees. How would a snake poking? That's a hell of an image. Gary, Joy blame McCracken for quit against Ruiz, and you call Froch a hater. Cole Froch is Hall of Fame. For our Froch has better quality opposition, in my opinion. Realistically, probably Froch, but the heavy roots don't they? Certainly do. This is Gary, who was just observing this bad fish out already. Says if the AJ fans use their resume and top win logic, then Froch should get 100% in the vote. He's some kind of crazy eyes emoji, which is fun. Thanks, Gary. Continue, Irvin.